All right, questions for Coach Stevens? Start with Chris Ryan.
Hey, Brett, hope all is well with you. You're talking the other day about fans and the fans not being in attendance and what that's meant. I'm curious as to if you've seen anything substantive in how not having fans has, affected the game on either end of the floor. Has there been any effect, do you think, on the play?
That's a good question. I don't know that there's probably people that have dove into the numbers on that between now and the bubble and figured out what effect that might have on individuals or teams. I'd say it'd be more individual based. I'm sure there are guys that are, are able, perform better without, some that perform better with. But I have not seen anything that would suggest there's a difference in level per se. I certainly felt like in the bubble, as the games got into the playoffs, that was as high a level basketball as I'd ever been around. So I don't think I have a good answer for you on that one.
Abby Chin.
Brad, I know you're big on treating every game the same, but is there something different when it is the Lakers and this rivalry?
Well, I think anytime you get a chance to play not only Celtics Lakers, but also, the team that just won the championship, the team that's one of the best teams in the league and certainly going to be considered by most to, be a favorite to win it again. I think that they are a team that you, know you're going to have to play your very best against. And then you add into the fact that, obviously the rivalry is the rivalry. And so I think that obviously, each game is worth one when you add them all up at the end. But there's also opportunities to create, belief, to get information, to learn more about yourself. And so we're looking forward to the challenge.
Dan Woike.
Hey, Brad. When you first entered the league, LeBron was entering sort of the traditional prime of a player's career, 29, 30, 31, that level. How surprised are you to see that level of play hasn't diminished really and maybe in some ways has actually increased?
Yeah, I think I've learned not to doubt the greats of all time. I mean, we're everywhere I turn right now, everybody wants to talk about Tom Brady here in New England, who's 44 and going to another Super Bowl, right? So 43 and going to another Super Bowl. You said it. I think the bottom line is if anything, I think LeBron's continued to improve. And you see it in so many different areas in so many different ways. But I thought he was fantastic in the bubble. And I think he's just, picked right up off of that. And so, and there aren't many guys like him that can play this well, this late, but there were not many guys like him before, before he got to this point.
Mike Trudell.
Hey, Brad, I wanted to ask you about Tatum and Brown kind of through the lens of LeBron and AD as two-way players. Frank can kind of assign to multiple positions and they can make an impact on both ends. How have you seen your two wing players evolve there, and what does that do for you as a coach to, I suppose, to be able to use that versatility?
Well, that's been the case from day one, Mike. I mean, obviously, I think that their experience helps you, but they've been able to guard multiple positions right out of the gate from day one, and that does help. I mean, it's a huge reason why we drafted them in consecutive drafts, because they not only had super talent and super high upsides, but they also complemented each other well and were going to be able to guard multiple positions. You knew that they would fit well together because they, as many great things as they do, they're much different in their strengths, especially coming in. Some of those have evolved over time, to share some similarities, but especially coming in, that was a huge part of drafting those guys in back-to-back years.
Final question for Coach John Corrales.
Hey, Brad, the schedule, they added that game with Washington to February now. So you now have 4 back-to-backs this month, 3 straight weeks with 4 games. Obviously not ideal, but how does that impact the minutes that you're going to give guys, your rotations? I mean, how do you account for this many games in such a short time?
Well, I think one of the things that we all just kind of signed up for once we learned we were going even to the bubble last summer is it's just going to be, it is what it is, right? It's crazy. It's going to be crazy, and you're just going to have to play it as, as well as you can. But I think that's just why, my job is not only to manage an individual game, it's to manage a long season. And so, there will be games where our best players get up into the high 30s, with the exception of Kimba, who won't in this stretch. And there will be games where we've got to manage it a lot closer. And there'll be games where we'll probably have to sit some guys, and that's just the way it is. We've known that coming in. The challenge is that not only are we, playing a great schedule, we're playing great teams. And so it'll be quite a challenge all the way through. But it is what it is. Everybody's got that.
All right, we'll wrap it up right there. Thanks, Coach.